Hello and welcome everyone to finally a video that I was supposed to record quite a while ago, but quick disclaimer that they are working in our bathroom, so we are getting a new bathroom soon, which is pretty nice, but a lot of noise, so I just haven't been able to record yet. But for people who don't know what I'm going to do in this particular video, what I'm going to do is I recently 5-0'd with my latest blue-green Infect build, and I've been a huge proponent of playing black-green for quite a long while now. And recently I had an idea in my head, right, where what if we just go back to blue-green, and I'm going to go over why I think that this is the right choice soon. But before I start, I want to dive in and tell you that if you watch closely, maybe you will notice that the video quality of my webcam is really good, but the quality of my screen is a bit worse, and that's because I am currently recording this from my laptop. However, I usually record videos on my desktop, which means when I was playing these games, I played them on my laptop, and I can't record yet on my laptop. So I haven't found a way yet how to get the data from the games that I played on my laptop to my desktop. Literally, I've tried everything. I've tried copying the files, I've tried talking to other people who are good with computers, and they can't figure it out either. Somehow Magic Online saves the files, the games that you played on your desktop or laptop, and not on Magic Online itself. Pretty weird. Maybe you're watching this and you're like, that's pretty easy. Let me know how it works, and then I can quickly shift these things, because currently I'm on a Discord call with my laptop connecting to my PC, so it's quite a hassle, I'm not gonna lie. But that's why the quality of the screen may be a bit worse, because I'm streaming to myself through Discord, if that makes any sense. Also, people have been talking about how they will miss me when I'm streaming and I'm drinking beers, so this one's for you guys. Another Belgian classic. It's just a pint. I mean, I'm recording this on a Sunday evening, so if you want to have fun and enjoy this video, just crack one open with me, and then we'll have a good time. But anyway, enough small talk. Let's just jump into why you guys are here. So this is the tweet that I made, and I wanted to show you this before I start. So I 5-0'd with this list. Spoiler alert: these are the matchups that I played, and I just went into a clean 10-0, which is quite nuts. That doesn't happen all that often. So let me start by talking through why I believe that we may be in a time where it's correct to go back to blue-green, because if I can play blue-green, I would always prefer to play that. And I've thought about this for a while now, and let me go through this why. I've been seeing that in Modern, we are seeing a shift towards more and more combo decks. And if you've been watching the meta for a while and you know how Infect works, you know that when combo's good, Infect's good. That's how it's always been. Infect's very good against combo decks. Against decks that are through removal, we can sometimes struggle. But let's look at this metagame, right, shall we? So Murktide, best deck. It's always going to be, well, I'm going to say always the best deck, because I'm seeing a decline in Murktide in Modern, but still the best deck, I believe. So Hammer Time, I consider this to be a combo deck. Creativity as well. Crashing Footfall's a combo deck. Living End's a combo deck. Titan's a combo deck. You can also say that Yawgmoth is kind of like a combo deck, except that is a bad matchup for us. And also, what else do we have? We have Grinding Station. That's not really a combo deck, but it's like kind of the kind of wants to do everything. Tron, great matchup, and Murfolk, we just race them. In general, and this is the meta's already shifted a bit, but I've been seeing an uptick in combo decks in general. Like for example, you have the Glimpse combo is another combo deck that we can see. Mill. In general, that's what I'm trying to show, that there's a huge uptick in combo decks. And I think that's when this happens, it's time for Infect to shine. So I've been thinking about, okay, I don't want to go all in to just, you're never going to face only combo, right? So how can I change Infect towards creating a build that I believe is going to be strong against combo? We're going to crush them, but aside from that, we're also going to have game against other decks as well, and that's really the idea that I had in mind when I created this new build of Infect, right? So let me just go over why I made certain choices and why I believe that they are good in the current metagame. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to order these to make this video a bit more easy to watch for you guys, because I've made some choices that I'm pretty sure a lot of people will find weird or have questions about. And if you have any questions about my build or something that I haven't explained enough for you, just type in a chat and I will answer them for you. I read all the comments, not like it's that many, all the comments, but whenever I have a comment, I do read this too. Okay, so let's go over the main thing, right? The standard stuff is 4 Agent, 4 Elf, 4 Inkmoth Nexus. That's pretty standard stuff, nothing strange about that. Then we have 4 Nobles, you know, you just always play these things, right? That's pretty standard on itself. Now, what you can also see is that I'm playing 4 Ignoble Hierarchs. So why would I want to play 4 of these? I've been seeing that, you know, a turn 1 drop, if you play that, it's going to get either going to get removed with a bolt spell, and if it doesn't get removed, you are so far ahead. Literally, you are so far ahead, because if you play Elf, you have 2 ways to protect your creature, and if you play Blooded Agent, you have a way to protect it, especially from the play. If they have a removal spell for your agent, yeah, you know that you're always going to be able to protect it, unless you have 2 and they can untap with the end step bolt and then do another one in their turn. But it makes sense what I'm trying to say, right? Usually, if they have a bolt spell, they're going to use it on the Noble anyway. So, at the very least, this takes out a removal spell from the opponent's hand. At the best, it makes you set up for an extremely good turn, where you can very, very easily protect your threat that you want to save anyway. So I've been overloading on Ignobles, going up to 4. I've never been a huge fan of Mutagenic Growth, because playing Mutagenic Growth is just going all in on combo aspect, and I really like going back and forth. You know that I'm a legacy player, so I like the stack, I like interaction, and I'm just in love with 4 Ignobles. I've started with 2, and I really felt that I want to have 4. Also because in general, you know, Modern right now is just, every single deck is removal deck. It's just filled with removal spells, and every removal spell that you can take away from the opponent is just nuts. Because I've had games where I start with Noble, they bolt it, sure, next turn I play 2 more Nobles, and then what are they going to do? Bolt both of them? It happens, and then I follow it up with my threat, and I have protection. So they have to kill the Noble, but very often they just really don't want to, but they, you know, I hope this makes sense. It just, at the very worst, it takes out a removal spell. It's great. Nothing too special about the lands. I'm just playing 1 Boseiju. I think you want to play 19 lands, so I'm no longer playing Dryad Arbor. I don't think there's room for it in there. So, and then we go to, let me start by talking you through the pump spells. Most interestingly, I'm not playing Mutagenic Growths. They are Ignobles. I think that's way better. And then I'm only playing 1, 2 scale-ups. Same thing. Every single matchup right now is just... Every deck is filled with removal spells. I don't care if I have a hand filled with pump spells that don't protect my creatures, because I'm not going to be able to use them anyway. So what I figured out is that what you want to do when you're playing Infect right now is you want to, if you can just find 1 pump spell, 1, you end up winning the game. That's it. And by pump spell, I mean Might, Evoke Crowser, or Scale Up. So I am playing 4 Mights. I think that's just the best pump spell there is, because it's an instant. And then I'm playing 2 scale-ups, because no way you're going to be able to kill turn 2. Just don't rely on that ever happening again. These days are over. That's just not going to happen reliably. And then I figured out what I have to do is I just have to overload on protection spells. That's it. So that's why I'm playing 4 Blossoming Defense. I'm playing 4 Vines of Vastwood. And I'm also playing 4 Snakeskin Veils. So the full set of the best protection spells out there. 12 of these in total. If you want to protect your creature, it will happen. Especially since I'm also playing, if you look at these right here, I'm also playing 4 Spell Pierces. The main reason for this is that Spell Pierce is just so good, especially in our deck, because we want to win as quickly as possible, and Spell Pierce is one of those cards that can protect you from a lot of deck or cards that are usually game over, like Blood Moon. We have to get rid of Blood Moon if we can. Teferi, easy mode button, Spell Pierce stops that. Dress Down, so many decks are playing Dress Down, it's so difficult to beat. You have Chalice, so Spell Pierce just hits everything, it's so great. And on top of this, you can count this as 4 protection spells too, because if they're going to bolt my creature and I can Spell Pierce, I can do that. So it's just very, very good. And then I've started trying out is I've been playing 2 Distortion Strikes. I want to go up to 3. I know that in this league, I just posted my deck list that I played here, but I already have a new list where I've cut Piracy Charm. It hasn't done anything at all. I think it's In my head it was for Ragavans, etc., but this deck honestly doesn't care about Ragavan. It's one of the great things what I love about the deck. If they have Ragavan, who cares? What are they going to take from the deck that's relevant? Nothing. They have pump spells. What are they going to do with that? It's great. In fact, the Piracy Charm, if they Ragavan and they hit Piracy Charm, then it actually is good because they get used to this. So I just said, nah, I don't care about Piracy Charm anymore. I've even started with 4 Distortion Strikes because if you have Distortion Strike, what a lot of people will do against Infect is they just keep back 1 blocker when you have Elf, and they think they are safe. We will see this happen in the games that I'm going to show you. Distortion Strike is nuts. Love the card. I've gone up to 3. I think 4 is just a bit too much. All right, sideboard. 4 Endurance, that's pretty standard right now. If you've been watching my content, you know that I'm a big fan of Endurance. It's also good in Black-Green. I've been playing 4 of those in Black-Green as well. Card's nuts, it stops, it's good against creature-based matchups, it's very good against a lot of combo decks, so you have to play 4 of them every single time. That's at least what I would advise you to do. Kitchen Finks, I've been playing this in Black-Green as well, so this is maybe a bit weird. I've got a lot of questions about why you should play Kitchen Finks. Kitchen Finks is one of those cards that just, if you're playing against a creature-based matchup or a matchup that's all about removal.deck, it just allows you to stall the game or win with regular damage. We will see that in game number 5 against Murktide 2. You will see just how good this card is. You may think that it's bad, but it's actually really, really great. In fact, if you're playing 4 Snakeskin Veils, what's a really nice combo here is that, imagine you play Kitchen Finks, right? They bolt Finks. It comes back as a 2-1. Then, if you have a correct time to do this, you can Snakeskin Veil the Kitchen Finks, which means the -1/-1 counter gets removed, and then, well, they have to do it again. This is just insane. It's so good, especially against creature-based decks. What I've often done is I've just went for an alternative game plan where I play 4 Endurance, 3 Kitchen Finks, and suddenly you have regular damage being a real threat. So they have to respect this. Then 2 Flusterstorms, combo decks, pretty straightforward, really good there. And then 2 Shaper's Sanctuary. This is one of those cards that I'm most excited about because, well, not most excited, but I think that can be very good, but I'm not sure if it's good enough. I want to play this because I feel like the worst matchup right now is control decks, and they just have too many removal spells, right? They have every single spell that they play is impactful. And if you can draw cards from Shapers, if they've tried to 1-for-1 you, which is what these decks want to do and go to the late game, well, that doesn't happen with Shapers. So I'm playing 2. And I've gone up to 3 in my Loo list, cutting this one right here, Stonewood. It's funny, got a lot of questions about it. I've never seen it. I don't think it's going to be good enough. I wanted to try this out against Control because I think it's funny, but 4 mana is just too much. If this was 3 maybe, but yeah, I've just gone up to playing another Shape as a Sanctuary. And there you go, that was the breakdown. So why not Black-Green anymore? Well, Black-Green is slow. I love Phyrexian Crusader, it's so good in the meta right now, but very often, you know, a 3-drop is just too slow if you wanna play reliably. And Black-Green heavily relies on the Crusader. If you have Crusader, it's nuts. But if you don't have it, sometimes you just don't do a whole lot. So don't get me wrong, I still love Black-Green, but I'm quite happy with the shift towards Blue-Green and see if we can get a win with that deck. All right, so let's jump to the games, shall we? Okay, so game number 1. Keep in mind, of course, I don't know what I'm playing against in these games, so I'm just going to, I am going to show you them a bit. I'm just going to go through them and pause occasionally. So the opening hand there was quite bad. I didn't have to explain that too much, right? I didn't have any lands in there, so that's a quick mulligan. So breeding pool, interestingly enough, so I'm going to pause from time to time. I want to go through these rather quickly. If you have any questions at a certain point, feel free to spam them in the chat. Wow, I'm still relying on my streaming days. In the comments on YouTube. So I actually start with Ignoble here. The reason for this is that I think that what you want to do is you want to be able to slam in with Nobles. That's the best card. It's better than Ignoble because it gives you mana that you can use apart from green. So if I want to have a creature bolted, I'd rather have them kill Ignoble than Noble. That's it. So they're going to Grief, which means I know that I'm playing against Living End. They take away Noble, which is interesting. I thought it was a bit weird that they didn't take Snakeskin because that protects my creature, but I guess Noble gives me, you know, it keeps on hitting. So, and here is something interesting. So they are going to grief me. Now, they know what I have in my hand, right? They know it's Snakeskin and Verdant. So I'm thinking, okay, so they are clearly afraid of the Snakeskin, which means in response to this, what I can actually do is I can animate Nexus with itself. Then I have green mana up, and then I'm going to Snakeskin the Inkmoth, because that means I put an extra counter on it, which could be relevant. So that's what we do here. We Snakeskin, and they see my hand, which is only a land. We draw another Snakeskin, so I'm just going to slam in here. Slamming in for damage. What I could have done is I could have... there we go. So what I could do here is, and this may be interesting to explain my reasoning. What I did here is I just play Snakeskin. I just put a counter on this one to make it a 5/5, which means I kill them in 2 turns. Now, of course, they need to have a way to play the living end. So we're going to see that here. So they cascade. In response, I'm just going to add mana so I can get the Inkmoth Nexus. And I know that at this point, so what I'm doing here is I'm just animating. It's pretty irrelevant, but if you can use the mana, you should. And then what I'm aiming for is I'm just going to look for Distortion Strike, because, again, you have to play to your outs. And if I find Distortion Strike, we can still win. And there we go. Boom! They're dead. So playing the Snakeskin there was very important, and well, we knew that we had 1 out, so we needed to draw it, and we did. So never surrender. Play to your outs. That's a very very important thing, and you have to realize that you know, there's a reason why you play these cards, right? Cool. So that was game number 1. Game number 2. So sideboarding straightforward. You know, endurance really good. Play it if you can. Okay, there we go. So pretty good hand here. Spell Pierce, well, no, probably good enough against combo decks because people don't expect a Spell Pierce. We draw Noble, which is nice. I can choose between playing Noble or Elf, and you can see that I decide to go for Noble here because I just want to have the mana advantage. Really, I don't have a very fast win, so if playing the Elf wouldn't have changed anything. In fact, we have Spell Pierce here. I'm just going to play the Glistener Elf because, you know, since they missed the land drop, I know that I should have an extra turn. If they didn't miss the land drop, I probably wouldn't have played Elf, but... Okay, so here, pretty good. We have double Spell Pierce, so I'm feeling pretty safe. I decide to just attack, slam in for 2. Let's see what they do. They miss a land drop, so that's a good sign for us. I'm feeling really good right now. Honestly, I can't really see how we're going to lose, especially with me drawing the Bladder Agents. So let's slammy slam with the 2. Now in my head I'm thinking, like, do I even want to play the agent? But I think I do because I have double blue left for double Spell Pierce, so I'm like, yeah. And I draw Endurance too, so there's no way how we're going to lose. And this is interesting, right? So what I do here is I decide to not even go for it. I'm not even going to Vines and use it on one of my creatures. And the reasoning for this is that if they have, like, they must have something in their hand. If they have, for example, something like a Force Negation, and they counter this. In general, what I want to do here in this point is that, look at my hand. I have everything that I need, right? I have double Spell Pierce and the Endurance that can pitch the Vines. I don't need to win right now, because they are going to be dead the turn afterwards anyway. So if I just chill, I'm going to slam in for 4 right now, putting them to 8 Infect, and I have 3 spells that prevent them from doing anything. That's going to be good enough. So I'm like, yeah, there's no rush, let's just chill. Put them to 8, and whatever they do here, even if they had drawn a land and they would have had the Cascade spell, irrelevant. I can Spell Pierce it twice, and I can Endurance away this, and then I have triple Inkmoth Nexus left. So there was no way how I would have lost this game. Alright, so that was game number 1. Let's go to game number 2. Game 2 it is. Again, I don't know what I'm up against. So pretty good hand here, and they mulligan straight away to 4, so I'm like, yeah, it's not a bad start. But then they have mine, and I'm very afraid, because if it's Tron, they can crush me pretty easily from 4 cards, so yikes. And they have Tron on turn 3 too, so I'm very afraid, honestly. I decided to just play Elf here, not play Blood Agent because I want to be able to Spell Pierce and or use defensive spells. I imagine if they go for Calm or stuff like that, then I can Spell Pierce, that would be pretty sweet. But they have Smash, and I'm like, okay, it looks like I made a mistake. It's not Tron, it's Eldrazi Tron, which is probably one of the worst matchup, if not the worst matchup. Now, They did mulligan quite heavily, so I know that if I just draw land, we're good because we have Agent, which we do, which is nice because now I have access to defense and vines. I'm really afraid of Chalice, but we'll see what happens. They have Khan, which I do let resolve because I imagine they're just going to get Snaring the Bridge, which I can Spell Pierce, and that's exactly what they do. Again, people don't play around Spell Pierce, which is probably the right thing to do. You can't play around everything. They have map. They are empty-handed now, so I'm like, yeah, what I'm going to need to do is I'm just going to kill them. There we go. Boom, dead. That was pretty quick. Game 2. So against Eldrazi Tron, what you really only care about is Chalice. That's pretty much it. So you can see my hand here. It's fine. We have turn 1 Noble into Agent, so what I really want to do is I want to draw a card for the second turn so I can play Agent and protect it. And I hope that you can see that it's clear that just how important this this turn 1 Noble is, right? Every single time I had it, it was nuts, so the Ignoble is great. We do draw a land here, so I'm feeling pretty good. I don't even care if they have like a way to get things in my hand, Thought Not Seer, that's fine, which they do have, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. It doesn't really matter what you take. I decided that I do want to put an extra counter on the Blood Agents, because I imagine that they would otherwise just take away the Snake Skin, so I want to get full use out of this. Now, we do have the Distortion Strike, so I'm just going to slam in for 4, and they are dead next turn. And I have Spell Pierce as protection, so I'm like, yeah, go ahead, man, I don't really care. And this is all based on the turn 1 Noble, that gives me the protection or the reliability that I need. So I'm just going to slam in, and boom, we win. So there we go. It's not like their hand was bad, far from it. It's just at the power level of this Noble and Blood Agent. This is why I love blue-green. Blood Agent just so freaking good. Okay, cool. Let's go to game 3. So let's see what happened. I remember that I fucked up hugely in game number 2, I believe. Was it game 1? I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, this hand's pretty good. Again, we have Noble turn 1, so I'm happy. You just get to see how... This Noble, dude. Noble turn 1 is excellent. Doesn't even matter if it's Noble or Ignoble. It's all the same thing. Okay, so we play it. I have Patchwork. I have protection for Blood Agents, so I don't care what they do. I'm going to be very careful with the Spell Pierce. And you can see that they play Ballista, and this is going to be an interesting one. So take a look at this. They play Ballista, which is probably the only card that I really didn't want to see, because that just messes up all my protection spells and can't be Spell Pierced. So that was painful. That was really painful. Now I need to get rid of this Ballista, otherwise I'm not going to do anything anymore. They can put counters on it, and I'm not going to do anything. I just need to draw a creature, and we're good. That's pretty much it. We end up drawing Inkmoth Nexus, which is the best one. And this is an interesting one, right? So why would I Spell Pierce this Hardened Scales? Because it doesn't really do anything. Let me explain. The reason for me Spell Piercing the Hardened Scales here is that I have Scale Up and Might, so I know they're going to be dead next turn. So this Spell Pierce is me just asking them to tap Inkmoth Nexus. And the reason I do this is that this is a blocker. So if they can block with Inkmoth Nexus, I'm not going to be able to win. So Spell Piercing this Scales is perfect for me, because they actually end up paying, which is what I wanted, and that means that I can just kill them. Easy. So they took the bait. I don't care about taking 8 life because they're going to be dead. And there we go. Boom, boom. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. There we go. So I didn't fuck up game 1. In fact, Spell Pierce was a nice bait. In game 2, I remember not reading the card. Again, reading the cards explained the card, but... Anyway, let's just see. Let's just watch my fuck up, shall we? This is the one. Force of Vigor. Excellent card. If you have Force of Vigor in this matchup, you can't lose. And apparently, even if you throw away 2 cards, you still can't lose. Here we go. So they war. So what they do is they play this one, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. Force of Vigor, these 2, get this shit out of here. And I forgot. I didn't read the card well enough that it just had ward. So yeah, that's really my bad, because that means Force of Vigor gets counted, and still it doesn't matter. I think this matchup is really good, especially for blue-green, because I still have lethal. I'm just going to kill them next turn. That's how good our matchup is. So they have Nature's Claim, which is scary. I'm going to draw, and the reason for me drawing first is I want to see if I have another protection spell incoming, because potentially if I had drawn, for example, Snakeskin, I would have wanted to use that one instead of the Vines, because Vines gives me +4/+4, if that makes sense. So I want to be able to keep my lethal pump spell if I can. So that's why I drew a card first before using the Vines. We drew Might, it's 4/4, so same thing, which is excellent. Their hand was nuts too, you'll see that soon. So they have the Glimmer Wasp, I don't really care. It's irrelevant. Now they do have one green up, so my head is, yeah, they definitely have another Nature's Claim, but I just drew another Blossoming Defense, which is excellent. If I hadn't drawn the Blossoming, I would not have attacked here with Inkmoth Nexus. Keeping up this green and not playing anything was a bit too much. To me, it screamed a bit too much that they had Nature's Claim. That's pretty much it. So yeah, I did fuck up with Force of Vigor, but it just didn't matter. I think this matchup is, in general, great. And I hope to see that what we saw in this game is that, yeah, indeed, you don't need scale up. It's irrelevant. If you find one pump spell, you will win the game. So I'm just overloading on protection spells here, and any protection spell was good. I had, we played 12 of these, and we also play Spell Pierce. We have 16 cards that would have saved our creature here. So it's not like you can say that, wow, lucky top deck. No, dude, I'm playing 16 of these cards. I'm going to find one. So yeah, that was game number 3. Let's go to the next one. Number 4, a very good matchup here. Spoiler alert. Opening hand, well, it's not the fastest, but we have Noble, so it's a keep. And also have Pendelhaven, which is like a semi-pump spell. I'm going to be slamming in for 3 Infect each turn, which is good enough. If I just draw one pump spell, I win, and that's what we do. That's what I explained in the beginning of the video. So it's always nice when the reasonings that you do in your head, they work out perfectly. So I'm just going to play Pendelhaven here, pump, slam in for, and I decided to just play another Agent, slamming in for 3 here. Next turn I'm just going to kill him. Also, it's clear that they're playing Titan because they have Saga map, but they have a very slow start. So I'm like, yeah, it's doubtful that I'm going to lose here, especially with them losing another Saga. They have Amulet, which is unfortunate, but I'm going to Spell Pierce this Amulet here. Because I think if I want to lose here, that means that they will have a way to just tap a bunch of, or just untap a land twice, make 5 mana, and then they can get the snowball rolling. So that Spell Pierce has proven to be excellent again. Yeah, what can I say? I think we just made correct choices. I think the deck building of this list particularly is very good for the current meta, and we saw that happening quite a lot, where the card choices have been relevant almost every single game, as I think was clear in this game as well. So let's go to game 2. In general, for blue-green, Amulet is a really good matchup. Blue-green is much faster, so in black-green, actually, sometimes you struggle against them. But blue-green, Blooded Agent, dude. Blooded Agent is just so strong. Alright, anyway. So, opening hand. Let me click open game number 2 again, because I think this might have been an opening hand that a lot of people would have kept. So let me just click through this slowly. There we go. So this opening hand, while this may seem great, it's really not good enough. Let me talk you through this. Amulet very often has what's the name of the green? My mind is abandoning me here. This one, the Arboreal Grazer. They very often keep this and even mulligan for this against Infect specifically, which is why I've thought about keeping, but I'm like, if they have the Grazer, this hand just doesn't do anything. So I'm like, yeah, they mulligan to 6, so I know that, yeah, I'm just gonna mulligan this one away. I don't think I can keep here, especially with me not having anything against that. 6 is very bad, so I have to mulligan to 5, unfortunately. So they're on 6. I'm at 5, but this hand I'm rewarded. I mean, mulligan to 5, and well, spoiler alert, you saw that we were going to win. So now, in all honesty, I think their opening hand was a bit slow as well. We have Force of Vigor, which is great against like Urza Saga and the Amulet, which is great. So they play explosives, and I'm like, yeah, whatever happens, I can't let explosives happen because I think that's the only thing what they have going. We have double protection spells, so I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. One more pump spell and they are dead. So again, overloading on protection spells, that's the way to go. So they are pretty slow. Explore, drawing a bunch of cards, having Blast Zone, but I don't care about that. And there we go. Boom. Boom. And if I remember correctly, we just win here. There we go. Yeah, again, what can I say? I think they're mulliganing to 6. They probably should have mulliganed again. They just kept based on the explosives, which is just not good enough against us. Yeah, game 5. So in game 5, we played against Murky. And we went 2-0 again, so just to show you that, you know, the matchup is definitely winnable. There we go, perfect opening hand. We're on a draw, unfortunately. They start with Spire Bluff, so I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be murky. Now the thing is that you don't always need a Noble turn 1, especially if you have. I have 3 threats here, so I'm like, I'm just gonna throw in every single. I didn't care about the removal spells, didn't care about the counter spells. I have another agent left, so I'm just gonna throw it in. And luckily they untap here, or they outtap here, and they have Murky boys, so. I'm pretty happy here. I can race this. It's always nice when you can race a Murktide. Interesting here to just get Breeding Pool. Draw one more pump spell and we are good. So, okay, I decide to play Noble here because I want to be able to... I'm not going to do anything else. In this spot, I'm afraid of this Murktide just killing me too quickly. So what I do here is I actually slam in for 2 and then just see, well, what's going to happen. They only have double blue though, so I know that if I would want to use a pump spell, now would be the correct time to do so. But just consider, they're probably digging for a removal spell, but I'm ready for this. Again, overloading on protection spells is what you want to be doing. So they Unholy Heat, they found a protection spell with the Consider, and there's protection spell number 1. I expect to see... So here I expect to see some kind of counter spell, which they do have. I played this incorrectly, let me point that out. What I should have done is I actually should have played Blossoming Defense first, expecting this to be countered, and then followed this up with a Snakeskin Veil, because that would have been better. That was the idea in my head first, and then I figured out that, no, that's not true, because... nah, that's irrelevant. What I said was correct. Okay, so we save it. And there, I knew that I'm going to have to draw into a pump spell here. We found Waterlogged Grove, and boom, we kill him. So that was pretty close. They put me to exactly 3. I could have been able to block the Murky with Inkmoth, but then this would have gone through. So, well, their hand was nuts, but as I told you, I mean, if you overload on the correct spells in your deck, you can win. So, boom, get him dead. A card I'm very afraid of Murktide is Blood Moon. So I really, I'm very careful about fetching breeding pools. I want to be able to fetch up forests whenever I can. So take that in mind when we are going to watch game number 2. So as I said, I bring in Endurances and I bring in Kitchen Finks. And if I remember correctly, they were great in this matchup. Look at this. Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful opening hand. Finks, Endurance, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm just going to keep this one. This is perfect. Because what my opponent's going to do is they are going to overload on removal spells, right? So I'm going to go like, I don't even care about this Ignoble. And the reason why I'm not playing Ignoble is because I'm just going to throw this into a removal spell. And that's not what I want to do. That's what they want me to do. So now if I don't do that, they have to keep up mana open. So I'm not going to play this Noble until next turn so I can protect it with Snakeskin. Because I need 3 mana. Or... if I find another land, then I am always able to cast these 2, so then I'm happy. Piracy Charm in my hand here, it's a bit iffy. If they had Ragavan would have been okay, but they didn't have it. We did draw the land, so here in like they bolt. I am going to try and save it, but this is more to bait out something else, like Flusterstorm, Spell Pierce, whatever. Then we have the Spell Pierce. I don't really care about this Ignoble. It can die, really. Shredder, Ragavan. And I'm thinking like, do I want to kill Ragavan first, or then we just want to play... Endurance, and I'm like, yeah, let's just play the Endurance, and there we go, boom, game over, I win the game. It's weird, but that's really how good these cards are. They will just not do anything anymore. What they want to do is they want to kill 1 or 2 of your threats, and then they want to kill you with their overpowered creatures, and that's just not a thing. I Piracy Charm here, their Flusterstorm. Honestly, as I said, I don't care about Ragavan really. I'm pretty happy that they wasted Flusterstorm because Ragavan is going to be irrelevant the rest of this game. And it's actually this game that really convinced me that, yeah, I should probably not play Piracy Charm in this list because who cares? I don't care about Ragavan. If they slam in with it, sure, who cares? And now I'm just free reign here. I don't really care. They unholy heat, sure. You can unholy heat the noble, and I'm like, yeah, noble can die. I don't care. I have these creatures, so whatever. And this is what they want to do. They can't unholy heat endurance, and they don't want to unholy heat the kitchen finks, and they have to start blocking, which is funny. I'm just gonna threaten lethal here, and this is what I mean. I don't care about Ragavan. Sure, go ahead, attack me with the Ragavan. What are you gonna take? They take a land here. Don't care at all. I'm just gonna keep on attacking. They have to block. I'm gonna save. I'm gonna try and save. I was about to say I'm gonna try and save my kitchen things, but I forgot that I can just try and kill them here, because the idea here is that if I vines, that puts them to 7. And this hasn't connived yet, so they need 2 spells in order for this to work. So I just vines. They spell pierce, but I can just pay for this. So put him to 7. I'm not going to do anything. I mean, dress down. Here we go. And I'm like, this is quite funny because they dress down, and dress down removes all the abilities from the creatures. But I'm like, okay, so what can they find? Because this is going to resolve, certainly. So I'm like, what if I just Blossoming Defense now in response before they actually draw a card? This is going to be... so conniving here is useless because they used to have discarded anyway, and now it's just lethal. So boom, dead. This was quite funny, this game right there. Yeah, I hope that you really enjoyed this one here. Oh, maybe I should explain a bit why I was fine with using the Blossoming Defense here. So what is going to happen here is that if you look at the graveyard, they have in here, they have creature, land, and instant. So they didn't have sorcerer in here. So even if they had found unholy heat, I know that if I would just play the Blossoming Defense, this would become a 9/10 anyway, because they don't have delirium for dealing 6 damage. That's why I did that first. So yeah, again, the card choices, the sideboard here was really important, and just to show you that how good this Kitchen Finks is and Endurance was, really nice to go out with a bang like that. Okay, if you have enjoyed this content, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps me, almost at 200 followers. Followers, that's not on YouTube, right? Subscribers. So yeah, thanks you all for being here. If you have any questions, feel free to reply this on the video, and I will take the time to reply to each and every one of you. And I hope that you enjoyed this one. Also questions, spam them and I will respond. Alright, see you for a future video. Bye!